Good afternoon, on what is a cool, grey and cloudy day. It is Wednesday, the 3rd of January, and I've got a nice hot cup of tea. And a big, heavy box of books to unbox, and which is essentially just going to showcase some of the books I'm going to be looking at over the next few weeks, months, and hopefully read. And this is all the sort of like the fiction, because I've been fiction and non-fiction, because I've been on a book binge in the sales. So I started with a copy of The Tales of Dying Earth by Jack Vance, which I wanted to read because I'm interested in playing a role-playing game from Good Many Games for Dungeon Crawl Classics, and one of these stories in here I've got to read for our book club. So it's going to be relatively short, hopefully easy to read, amongst all the other things that I've got to read. So I also picked up, let me see, paused in Cosmic Reflection, which is a retrospective in history of the Chemical Brothers, basically a electronic music sort of band duo, which I happen to like. And again, that was in the sale, so I didn't pay over the odds, as it were, because there's a sale. What else have we got? Latest thriller by Chris Hadfield, the Canadian astronaut famous for singing at Ground Control to Major Tom aboard the International Space Station. I like a good thriller. Don't get to read too many of them these days because, hey, I read too many role-playing games. That's my fault. And then I picked up the book from the other history podcast. This is the other book that came out from another history podcast. This was History Hit Miscellany, Facts, Figures and Fascinating Freaks. This is done by basically. So this is like a collection of historical facts and interesting information. The sort of thing I always kind of like dipping into. It's the sort of book you kind of, I don't know, you may not necessarily want to read a story from start to finish, but you know, if you've got a shelf in your bathroom and you want something to read occasionally, it's sort of like something you can just dip into and wait. And I know that's not everyone's cup of tea. I say literally not everyone's cup of tea, but everyone does that. But it's something that yes, I will do it. My father did it. It's a way to pass the time, as it were. Now we've got fiction. Naomi Alderman's The Future. I'm also looking forward to, as I'm sat here, I know it's been broadcast on Radio 4, so I'm going to listen to that as well, probably before I get around to reading this. So that's a bit of science fiction. Do appreciate a bit of good science fiction. And we have Michael Palin's Great Uncle Harry. This is a much more personal piece of history by Michael Palin, talking about his uncle, who never actually amounted to very much, but ultimately was killed during the Great War. Just one of those lost characters, as it were. And this throws a spotlight on one of them, because it's written by Michael Palin. He has the weight and presence essentially to do that. I get a book written about it. Another novel, this one, Tom Hanks, the making of another major picture masterpiece. I heard this read on Radio 4, so I thought, why not? Let's see what it's actually like, see if it's any good, see if he can actually write. I think he's a good actor, but I'd be interested to see whether he can write. Let's see what we've got. Oh, more history. This is MI9 History of the Secret Service for Escape and Evasion in World War II. So you always think about the British Secret Services. You have MI5, which deals with domestic terrorism and espionage, whereas MI6 deals with foreign. However, the fact that you've got MI5 and MI6 implies there's sort of like there have been multiple MI military intelligence. And of course they have, all the way up to MI9 and beyond. MI9 specialised in putting together the means and ways, items and pieces of equipment, forgeries and documents for escapees from Europe during World War II. So that should be an interesting read. She's written a couple of other books which I wouldn't mind getting hold of as well. Okay, let's switch to, we've got some politics. This is Politics on the Edge by Rory Stewart, the ex-politician. So yes, I'll be doing a political unboxing, as it were. I know that not the most popular, doesn't matter, but I think he's an interesting person politically, has interesting views, has actually done something with his life before he got back into politics, and has actually had an interesting career. So yeah, there'll be an unboxing about that. We have The Secret Life of John le Carré. This is the second work. It's almost an addendum to it. Well, essentially, it is an addendum, a corollary to the previous. What basically I'm trying to say, the previous biography that Sisman wrote, because it's this is the stuff that le Carré didn't want to come out at the time, whilst he was still alive. So that'll be interesting. I mean, one of the films I did see at the end of last year, of 2023, was The Pigeon Tunnel, was the documentary about le Carré, the interview talking about his life, which was fascinating. What next we got? More politics. This is Depraved New World, Please Hold the Government Will Be With You Shortly. A collection of essays and commentaries by the political writer John Crace from The Guardian. So yes, I do read The Guardian. So a series of essays. This will be amusing, at least, to read, I think. I do enjoy his writing, and it might be nice to sort of sit down and read it in in a collected form. Where have we got to? Okay, we have Mosquito, the RAF's legendary wooden wonder and its most extraordinary mission. Basically, the history of a particular model of aeroplane. I.S. did the de Havilland Mosquito, fascinating aircraft, and one other thing, of course, is that growing up, World War II wasn't that long ago, and so you were fascinated by films and comic strips like Battle or Commando, that sort of thing. And so in the imagination of schoolboys, you have particular aircraft that would stick, and Mosquito I found fascinating. So I'm looking forward to reading this. And I do like this. So I do have an interest in aviation as well. Which brings me to the last book, the one I really was pleased to pick up, which is Winkle. Not as really as it sounds. This is the biography of essentially the extraordinary life, the life of Britain's greatest pilot, Eric Winkle Brown, who essentially learnt to fly at the behest of a World War I German flying ace, and then essentially from there his career was specialised. He did actually, this is prior to World War II, and then during World War II he was on active service, but most of the time he was essentially working with experimental aircraft, testing, things like that. He has probably he's done like more carrier landings than any other pilot. He's probably flown more and more different aircraft than anyone else ever. If ever there was a candidate for one pilot to actually be Britain's first astronaut, it would be Eric Winkle Brown. And I've sort of seen the documentary. He was also on Desert Island Discs a few years ago, and so looking forward to reading this a lot. Very glad to have grabbed this in the sale. So I have a big pile, and this isn't quite all of it. Let's just pick this up, just show you. If I can do this, yeah, and that weighs a lot. That's an awful lot of reading. So I am going to be busy with that. That will keep me all very quiet, apart from the occasional popping out here into the Nook to unbox these and then chat about them to the best ability for basically for 5-10 minutes, and that's in addition to the role-playing games. So anyway, thanks for watching another unboxing in the Nook. If you've enjoyed this, then please do click on the subscribe button down below, and of course if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to get more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here with a box containing a book or game, or in this case a big pile of reading matter, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. Then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I will be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.